Hello again, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of Composition 2, English 112. So this video, I hope, is going to be a short one. Just a couple of things to let you know about. The reading for this week is another chapter from Bad Ideas About Writing, so that book that you read from 2 weeks ago. So the text is really short, easy to read, so that's one that should only take you maybe 10 minutes to get through. If you're a fast reader, it could be even only 5 minutes. It's like 3 or 4 pages long. This one is the one by Carrillo. Again, look in the table of contents to find what page that's on. Carrillo, the one called Writing Knowledge Transfers Easily. I think it's Writing Knowledge Transfers Easily or Transfers Automatically. Whatever, look in the syllabus. I should know these things, right? Anyway, it's you should be able to find it. Carrillo, Writing Knowledge Transfers Automatically, or something to that effect. You'll find it. Anyway, so yeah, 3 or 4 pages long, easy to read, just like the one from Wardle in that book. And then there is a discussion to do for that again. So just do that. And that one is more specifically about transfer, of course, you can tell from the title. And it talks about why transferring writing skills in particular are difficult and how you might be able to do that more effectively. So I think that's an important text. So read that to do your discussion, and then you have the first draft of your professional genre due this week. So I'm going to just go through the assignment prompt with you really quickly, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to share my screen. So again, this is posted on, this says 115, but it's the same assignment that I used in 112 also. So anyway, this is posted on Canvas, so you can see it there. But I will just read through this, and we'll see if you have any questions. I was going to say, see if you have any questions, but you can't really ask questions of me right now when you're just watching a video, but you know what I mean. If you have questions afterwards, just send me an email, of course. All right, so in this paper, you will practice writing in the genre that you analyzed for your genre analysis. For this paper, you will need to be a little bit creative. Your job is to imagine yourself as a professional in your field. Pretend that you have just finished or are in the process of finishing a research or other professional project and need to write up your findings for publication or other means of dissemination of your information. You will then write a paper of 2,000 to 2,500 words for an audience of specialists within your discourse community. Now, let me just make a little caveat right here. So, or a couple of pieces of information. So I put it in word count because, as you will see as we go down, it's not going to be double spaced, you know, Times New Roman font, all of that school essay stuff. This is a professional genre. This is a different genre. It needs to look different on the page. So you got to think through all of that what we would call visual rhetoric in order to figure out how it's supposed to look on the page as well. So I put it in word count instead of in pages because it's probably going to be single spaced. It might have columns. It might have pictures that take up a lot of space. So I'm not putting it in pages. So it's not 4 to 5 pages or something like that. It's in word count. The other thing is I say here for an audience of specialists within your discourse community. Now that might be the case for many of you. However, as I mentioned in the video last week, if you're doing something like a syllabus, right? The audience is your students, right? If you're an education major, the audience is your students. They're not specialists in your discourse community, right? That's a syllabus is not written for other teachers, right? The syllabus is written to be read by the students, right? That's the intended audience is the students. So you have to consider that. So whoever the intended audience is, it should be a professional genre in your field, but the audience is not necessarily going to be specialists in your discourse community, depending on which genre you chose. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so anyway, professional genres, professional writing draws its motivation from understanding of what kinds of problems count in a particular field. disciplines and professions are organized largely by the objects they study and the methods they use to study them. Now, this depends, of course, on the discourse community as well. If it's a more academic kind of community, then this is very, very much true, like for a researcher or a historian or something like that, a scientist, these things are true. If it's a more industry-based genre or field, some of this may not apply perfectly to whatever genre you chose. That's just what I'm saying. So just keep that in mind. I mean, most of the people all of this will apply, but some of you, your genre doesn't do this stuff exactly like this is saying here. So just keep that in mind. All right, anyway, to be a member, even a member in training in a particular field, means learning how to do its work, learning how to find or define problems by looking through its conceptual lenses. Identifying ideas as potential subjects for writing requires that you have seen writing used to accomplish similar purposes. Hence, the necessity and value of the models you used for your genre analysis. You cannot become a biologist without watching someone else do biology. As you try to write like a literary critic, an anthropologist, or a business person, you have to read how professionals in those fields define a problem of study, search for explanations, and report the findings to their professional peers. This is why genre analysis, even in an informal way, is so important to learning how to write in a new genre. And this is the same as when I talked about last week, the idea that you can't write something well that you have never seen before. So that's why you have to look at those models. You have to look at those examples and try to model your work after them. Now, of course, we need to not model it so closely that it becomes plagiarism, right? But you use those models as examples of what the genre usually tries to do and how they usually look, so that you can do yours in a similar way. So for this paper, the content of your paper will be made up in the sense that it will be about a fake research project or other kind of project, and even your sources can be made up. So here's where you get to be a little creative and try to have fun with it. You're pretending that you are already a professional in your field and you are having to write up this genre, this paper. So pretend you found the cure for cancer. Pretend you've invented something that's going to change the world. Pretend you're opening a startup company and need investors. Pretend you've done a case study of a medical patient with some strange exotic disease. Whatever it is, make that up. If you're an education major, pretend that you've landed your dream job and you are now having to teach this class and you need to write something to do with the class, whether that's a syllabus or assignment prompts or lesson plans, etc. So remember though, even though you are making it up, your goal is to make it sound as credible and authentic as you possibly can, following the genre models you collected. This includes using the structure, organization, style and tone, vocabulary, citation method of your field, and all other writing conventions used in your genre, including charts, graphs, pictures, etc., if applicable. Okay. All right. Paper, like I said, should be 2,000 to 2,500 words. If the genre you chose and you use for your genre analysis is shorter than that, then you need to do multiples. So for example, if you did, I've had people in the past do press releases, and those are usually like one short page long. So you're going to have to do a bunch of them, like 4 of them, to get up to that word count. If you're doing lesson plans, same thing. You're going to have to do a lot of them. If you're doing a syllabus, sometimes syllabi are quite short. My own syllabus for this class, if you looked at the word count, I think it is right at about 2,000 words. So a syllabus definitely can be a full 2,000 words, depending on how much information you put in. So just keep that in mind. If the genre you chose is quite short, just do a couple of them. Do enough, however many you need to do to get to that word count. Using whatever format is used in the genre examples. So if they're single space and in columns, then you should do that as well. Make sure you cite your sources in the citation method used in your field if that's applicable. So if it's a research assignment or a research kind of paper and they have citations, yours should have citations as well, and you should do it that way, whatever way they do it. So if it's Turabian, if it's AMA, APA, whatever it is they use, you should do that. If the genre does not cite sources, then you don't have to cite sources. And as I said at the beginning of this, you can make up the sources. Those don't have to be real, because if you're doing a fake research project, you might be doing you think you've discovered the cure for cancer and you're like citing all these people who have done similar work, but there's no but those are fake. They don't have to be fake. If you want to cite real research, that's perfectly fine too, but they can be fake if you if they're, if you want to just make those up. So, I mean, this is like a hypothetical, right? So you're in a hypothetical situation of being a professional already in your career and having to write something up. Okay. So the purpose of this assignment is to just kind of go through the steps that you would need to go through to figure out how to write in a genre you've never written before. So you did the genre analysis to see, like, to think through what is the purpose of this genre, who is my intended audience, and how do they actually write them. And then this one is your chance to kind of practice that, to try it out. Okay, so I've seen several, I've done the genre analysis, and now I have to write this. And so here's what I would do if I was going to actually write this up as a professional. And so hopefully you gain a process, you gain the knowledge of the steps you need to take in order to write in a genre you've never written before. Okay, so that's kind of the whole purpose of this class, is to teach you how to figure out how to write in genres you've never written before. So you've gone through those steps now, right? You've been reading some stuff about discourse communities and transfer and genres and that kind of stuff. And then, so that knowledge is in your head. And then you did a genre analysis. You looked at several of these genres. You figured out what they look like, what the purpose is, who the intended audience is. And now you're going to practice writing one. So you got the conceptual knowledge in your head from the readings, and then now you're getting the practice in the steps you will need to take to actually write in a genre you've never written before. So hopefully you can take all that information with you and that knowledge with you and transfer it to other situations, keeping in mind that transfer of writing skills is difficult, as you will read in the text by Carrillo this week. But yeah, okay. So that, I think, will be it for today. If you, of course, have any questions about this one we do have a first draft of. So this is your first draft. So do the best you can, and I will give you some feedback on it, and then you will have a chance to revise it for the second draft, which is due in a couple of weeks. So so look at the examples. Try to think of a topic that aligns with what you're seeing in the examples, and then try to follow them as closely as possible, without plagiarizing, of course, but use those as examples for the structure and the way they talk about this topic, the style and tone, the vocabulary. If they have pictures, use pictures. If they use single spacing in columns, put it in single space and columns, etc. The more authentic and real it looks on the page, the better. So really try to do that visual rhetoric to make it look really, really professional on the page. All right, as always, if you have questions, send me an email and I will get back to you as soon as I can, which is usually fairly quickly. So I will talk to you again next week.